This is the American West, and this is the story of how it began. January 1848. Somewhere along the American River in Northern California, a worker named James Marshall is busy doing what he does best, working in a sawmill. He spends his days lugging logs, sawing wood, and keeping the mill running smoothly for his boss, John Sutter, a Swiss immigrant who's made a name for himself as an explorer and businessman. On this particular day, Marshall is busy making repairs to the mill when he notices something glittering in the tail race, the channel of water that carries away sawdust and other debris from the mill. At first, he thinks nothing of it, assuming it's just some discarded bits of metal. But a few days later, he takes another look and realizes he might be wrong. What he's seeing are small flakes of shiny metal, so heavy and dense that they're not floating away like other debris. They're gold. He rushes to tell his boss, but Sutter is skeptical. He doesn't want to believe there's gold at his mill, knowing that it could disrupt his business and attract unwanted attention. So he tells Marshall to keep quiet and carry on as usual. But soon enough, the news of gold being found starts spreading among the workers. And despite Sutter's efforts to contain it, word gets out beyond the mill too. Word travels slowly at first, reaching neighboring towns and then spreading to the rest of California, where it ignites a frenzy of excitement and disbelief. People can't believe that there might actually be gold in California, but those who have heard the rumors aren't taking any chances. They're packing their bags and heading north to see if they can strike it rich themselves. The first group of prospectors arrives at Sutter's mill only to find little evidence of gold. Disappointed, most of them move on, but some stay behind, hoping to get lucky. Then in May, James Marshall is walking down the riverbank when he spots another piece of gold, much larger than the ones he'd seen before. This time, there's no mistaking it. Excited, he shows it to everyone he meets, confirming what many have suspected all along. There's gold in them their hills. The news spreads like wildfire, igniting one of the greatest migrations in American history. Thousands of fortune seekers now known as the 49ers are pouring into California, hoping to strike it rich. Many come overland, braving dangerous wagon trails through deserts and mountains. Others sail around Cape Horn, the treacherous southern tip of South America, while still others cross the deadly jungles of Panama. The journey is long and perilous, but the promise of gold keeps them going. Eventually, they arrive in San Francisco, only to find a city that's been transformed almost overnight. When the news of gold reached San Francisco in 1848, it was just a small town of about 200 people. But within months, it's become a bustling city of nearly 25,000 people. The streets are filled with saloons, supply shops, and gambling halls, all catering to the hordes of fortune seekers who have descended on the city. There are general stores selling everything from shovels and picks to food and ammunition, and the air is thick with the smell of sawdust and sweat. Every day, more and more people arrive, drawn by the lure of gold. San Francisco becomes one of the fastest-growing cities in American history, with its population exploding from a few hundred to over 25,000 in just a few months. The influx of people brings with it a host of problems. Housing is in short supply and rents are skyrocketing. Food is scarce and prices are high. And the lack of sanitation and basic services quickly makes San Francisco one of the dirtiest cities in America. But despite the challenges, there's a sense of excitement in the air. Everyone here is a potential millionaire and the competition for gold is fierce. As the news of the gold rush spreads, people from all over the world start heading to California, including thousands of immigrants from China, Latin America, Europe, and beyond. This creates a melting pot of cultures and nationalities, though tensions often run high as different groups compete for limited resources. The gold fields themselves are a chaotic sight. Tents are pitched along the riverbanks and thousands of prospectors are busy with their picks and shovels. The water is thick with silt, and the air is filled with the sounds of pickaxes striking stone. But despite the hard work and long hours, there's still a sense of camaraderie among the miners. They share stories and tips, and many form close friendships that last a lifetime. Not everyone finds gold, however. In fact, most don't, but the experience changes them all. Many leave with little more than the clothes on their back and a few dollars in their pockets, but some do strike it rich and become incredibly wealthy. These are the legends of the gold rush, the stories that have captured the imagination of people around the world. But the reality was far more complicated. While some did become rich, most found little more than disappointment. The gold rush had a profound impact on the American West. It spurred California's rapid statehood and helped to open up the region to settlement and development. It also fueled the growth of railroads and industry and turned San Francisco into a gateway for global trade. But it wasn't all positive. The gold rush led to the deaths of thousands of Native Americans whose lands were stolen and who were killed by violence and disease. It also had a devastating impact on the environment, as rivers were diverted, forests cut down, and hills blasted apart by hydraulic mining. Despite the challenges, the gold rush left an indelible mark on the American West. It created a diverse, though often divided, frontier society and sparked a new era of exploration, settlement, and economic growth. The legacy of the gold rush lives on today in the cities, towns, and landscapes of the American West, a reminder of the incredible transformation that occurred during one of the greatest migrations in American history. What started as a small operation by a few men at a river in California quickly grew into one of the largest mass migrations in American history. The 49ers were coming from all corners of the globe. They came across dangerous seas from Europe, risking everything to find gold. They crossed the continent by covered wagon, enduring hardship and peril on the trail. They even traversed the deadly jungles of Panama and scaled the treacherous mountains of Nicaragua. Once there, they joined a flood of people heading to California, crossing the isthmus on foot, by horseback, or by whatever means necessary. They risked their lives and health, facing deadly vipers, malaria, and cholera, all for the chance to find gold. After enduring months of travel, many would reach the coast of California and finally behold the Pacific Ocean. They gazed upon the vast expanse of water, realizing the incredible journey they had undertaken to reach this moment. From distant lands, they had come to California's shores, driven by the promise of gold and the hope for a better life. And when they arrived in California, they found a land transformed. Small settlements were bustling with activity, crowded with fortune seekers from all walks of life. They came from China, fleeing poverty and seeking opportunity. They crossed the Rio Grande from Mexico, escaping the grip of a dictator. They sailed from England, seeking a new beginning in a distant land. And they traveled from the depths of the Mississippi, lured by tales of gold and adventure. The 49ers were a diverse group, united by their hopes and dreams for the future. The 49ers were eager to begin their search for gold, but they soon found that the process was far from easy. They spent their days panning for gold in rivers and streams, sifting through dirt and rocks, hoping to find a lucky strike. They worked tirelessly, often in harsh conditions, but their efforts were often fruitless. The reality of the gold rush was far from the romanticized image that many had held on to. Still, the 49ers persisted, driven by the promise of wealth and the hope for a better life. Though they faced challenges and setbacks, they were determined to make their fortune in the gold fields of California. The gold rush brought both opportunity and hardship, fortune and despair. But through it all, the 49ers persevered, driven by the age-old human spirit of adventure, hope, and the pursuit of dreams. Thank you for watching, and if you want to help us reach our goal of 1 million subscribers, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below. We'll see you next time.